Example 4 says the surface area of an official 5-pin bowling ball varies from approximately 459.96 centimeters squared to 506.71 centimeters squared. What is the variation in the diameter of the bowling ball? Okay, so when you manufacture bowling balls, they don't all come out the exact same.
There's different sizes, right?
There are different sizes, but for an official 5-pin bowling ball, that's claimed to be the same size for all bowling balls that are created for that size. They actually vary a little bit in their size, in their surface area. Okay, the variation of about 45-ish in their surface area, 45 centimeters squared. That's quite a bit of difference, right? So you'll have different sized balls that are stated or classified as the same size, but really they're a little bit different if you were to be really picky about how big they are. Okay, so what we want to know is the variation in the diameter of those balls based on how their surface areas vary. Follow what I'm saying? So the question here is, how do I find the diameter of a sphere, essentially, because a bowling ball is a sphere. How do I find the diameter of a sphere given its surface area? An interesting question. Okay, so I've got a sphere. I'll just draw a sphere here. So here's my bowling ball, okay, with 3 holes on the top. Looks like a little man with a huge mouth. I know that the surface area is, well, for the smallest they can be is 459.96 centimeters squared. And I want to know the diameter of this guy, and then I want to know the diameter when it's at its maximum size. How do you find the diameter when you know the surface area?
So it doesn't give, it only gives us the... Well, if like to find surface area is 4 pi r squared.
Good start.
When you just use that after you find the radius and then double it.
Yeah, if you think about it, if you knew the diameter, could you work this backwards? If you knew the diameter, could you find the surface area? Yeah, because you could find the radius from the diameter. So likely, if you know the surface area, you can work backwards to find the diameter. That's exactly what we're going to do. So it's always a good idea to start out with that formula. Surface area for a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Now I don't know what r is, so I'm just going to leave that as a variable. But I do know what the surface area is, so I can write that number in place of surface area, right? 459.96 equals 4 pi r squared. Follow so far? Okay. Now I want to solve for r. I want to isolate it by itself. I need to get rid of this 4 pi in front. How do you get rid of things that are being multiplied?
You divide.
Divide, right? So I divide this side by 4 pi, and whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other, so I divide the other side by 4 pi. Okay? What does the right side change to when I divide out the 4 pi? What is left over?
Just r squared.
R squared. Okay? Not r, but r squared. What about the left side? What does that become?
361.25, yada yada yada.
Be careful here. I don't know if you made this mistake. I think you may have. When you enter in 459.96 divided by 4 pi, what do I need to make sure I do to 4 pi?
Can you put it in brackets?
You have to put it in brackets. So in your calculator, you should have this. 459.96 divided by bracket 4 pi. If you don't put the brackets, what your calculator thinks you're doing is this. 459.96 divided by 4 times pi. That's what it thinks you're doing if you don't put the brackets. Okay? And that's why you get 2 different numbers. So to ensure that you only divide by 4 pi, you need to put it in brackets. 36. Okay, and a bunch of other stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, so store that.
But it has a 0 behind it.
Doesn't matter. You guys got it stored?
Yeah.
Okay. Now the question is, what is the radius? I know what the radius squared is, but what is just the radius?
Would you square root it?
Yeah. All right, you think about it. R squared, I want to undo that squaring effect. What's the opposite of squaring? What undoes squaring? Square rooting, right? So if I square root r, if I square root r squared, I end up with just r. And whatever you do to one side, you have to do to the other. So I have to also square root a, or that 36 point blah, blah, blah.
We're Where's the square root sign?
It is in the same place as the squared sign. You press
Can
second.
you use the full number or just?
You have to use the full number. You cannot round until you get to the very end. That's why we stored.
I got 6.04.
6.04.
Blah, blah, blah.
Blah blah blah.
Okay.
Wait, 6.5.
6.5.
Yeah.
They don't tell us what to round to, so
0499.
we're just going to round to 6.5.
It's 6.0499.
Oh, 0.4. Okay, so it should be 0.5
Okay.
centimeters. So a bowling ball with a surface area of 459.96 centimeters squared has a diameter approximately of 6.05 centimeters. Sorry, it has a radius of 6.05. We need the diameter because we want the variation in diameter. So how do I find the diameter?
Multiply by 2.
Yeah, you double it, right?
Wouldn't it
So
have just been 36 points?
no, because doubling is not the same thing as squaring. So the diameter will be twice that. Actually, we shouldn't have rounded yet. You guys still have that full decimal? Okay. So it's 49, yada yada yada. Double that.
It's 12.099999237.
So 12.099. Good? Okay. So that's the diameter of our first ball. Let's look at the other one. We've got a surface area this time of how much?
506.6.
50671. So what do I do to this formula to figure out my eventual diameter? Where does that number go?
Just do the same thing that you did last time.
Yeah, right. I put it in place of of surface area, so 506.71 equals 4 pi r squared. And let's see if you can find the diameter on your own.
Where did you get the 506?
That's the diameter of the largest size that the bowling ball can be.
Oh.
Okay? So see if you can find for me the diameter of that bigger ball. Good, and you made sure that when you divided in your calculator, it was in brackets, right?
Yeah.
Good. So r squared is approximately 40.3-ish.
Blah, blah, blah.
And then to find r, you
Go
square root, so the radius is about
4.6. I mean 6.4.
okay, and then to find the diameter, you double that
Yeah.
to get
12.7
12.7 centimeters.
square. Right?
It's just the diameter, we're not talking about the surface area anymore. So, when it asks, what is the variation in the diameter of the bowling ball? Well, the smallest that the ball is allowed to be in diameter is 12.1. So it goes from 12.1 centimeters to how high?
12.7.
12.7 centimeters.
It's pretty substantial.
Which you probably wouldn't notice that big of a difference, right? It's a difference of
Like 6 centimeters.
0.6 centimeters, right? 6 millimeter difference. Would you notice that?
Probably not.
Probably not,
But it's actually.
right? But it makes a pretty significant difference on the surface area, right? A variation of about 45 centimeters squared. That's quite a bit.